What's up, Lucky Gamers? This is Lucky Lux, and today we're going to be talking about Honglan. And basically, should you summon? How is she performing? And all of that. I've had a chance to actually use her. I know I put out a video explaining her kit, but today I'm going to explain exactly how I feel after summoning for her. Got her up to legendary, and we're going to see how that is. And if you guys enjoy the video, please hit the like button. Comment down below what you guys think about Honglan for yourselves. And please subscribe to the channel to get more Eversoul content or all the other stuff. And if you're wondering who this lovable, wonderful baby is, this is Rhea. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know that it's having a daughter. And here she is with her adorable self. She joined the recording today. And so we're here, but she's gonna go back to mama. But she's just, come on, she's just so precious. But anyways, let's go hop to the video. All right, guys, so before I get into my explanation and how I feel about Honglan, I want to show you guys mine. Mine is level 161. She is legendary. I didn't want to put any more summons on the banner because of reasons of why I'm gonna explain later. But also, after looking at it, this is a very free-to-play, accessible Honglan. It's just 2 copies, right? So for most people, it's within the 80 summons. Getting her again, right? Getting her twice within 80 summons. Getting lucky, right? Legendary is very possible. I do have her artifact. I got that to Epic Plus. Very possible. It's level 8. She has Legendary Plus gear. Everything is obtainable, right? For any level of play. Her skill, I don't have her main skill and her ultimate at level 3, but all her other stuff, her sub and her passives are at level 3. So I basically have her at a decent level, is what I'm saying. And I was using her, if people know, I was using her in Gate Breakthrough and Unlimited Gate. So that's where I was using her. Beast Gate wasn't open when she came out. I didn't try her in PvP because I kind of already assumed what it would be like in PvP. So I didn't really test her a lot, like in like a PvP setup. Mostly PvE because I felt like that was more important. That was more important for me. So, little refresher on her kit for those of you who didn't watch the video, which it'll be in the description if you didn't watch it. It's a good video to watch. Basically, her ult, she hits the whole field, so she's a screen AoE character. She hits everybody on the field. She hits them for 170 starting out, decreases mana by 2000, freezes the enemy dealing 60% damage every 2 seconds for 8 seconds, and stuns them for 2 seconds. The main ability does very similar things. It's just a lower damage amount, 110, lower mana amount. Doesn't have the stun, but it does do the freeze. The sub ability, this one here, is just like kind of a straight line, just DPS damage. Not a lot of damage, but reapplies freeze. The sub ability here creates an ice pillar. If the target is frozen, they get stunned. So just another way to CC. And then the passive lowers their attack speed and their evasion, right? So she can decrease mana, decrease attack speed, decrease evasion, but applies the dot, right? With all of that in her kit, after using her, the decrease in mana, I saw it, but it wasn't like super crazy, but it does help in the sense where it's like, it's lowering the amount of skills that the team can do, right? Because it took like what looked like 15% in some cases away from the enemies, maybe 20, like 15 to 20% mana away from them, which is like, it prevented them from doing their skills. But she has low attack speed or like low energy gain to where it took her a while to use her main skill. So like the enemies that already used, like literally enemies that already used their skills, and then she did hers. So it's like they didn't have any mana really to take away. At least the first time she used her skill. Like the second time it was a little bit better because she gained a lot more mana when I used her main ability and her ult. But like there were times where it was like, yo, come on, decrease them from using all their skills, and she didn't do it. So like I still took the damage that would happen, right? Her ultimate I wasn't really impressed with it. So I want to say, it, like I can't really use damage wise because everyone has different levels of their ult, but it was very mid. The damage on her ult was very mid. Yes, it was a stun, but it didn't have the same effect that like Mika, Naya, Jade, as I had said, because the scaling is really low. You know, someone could be like, oh, but the dots can be cleansed. I tested it out. The dots can be cleansed from like Prim, Talia, right? So that completely takes out all that damage. It takes 8 seconds for the dot to happen. So you know, like most of the times it's going to be healed out, it's going to be cleansed or something, because a lot of the enemy teams we have, they have healers, which is what it is, right? So the dot damage gets healed away. The stun on the ult wasn't well, so it's like it felt like a waste to use her ult. The main skills, you know, it's just a small dot, not really gonna kill anybody. Maybe if they're already dead from somebody else, like, you know, it'll finish them off, right? Like there were times where she had like 1.3 mil, and I'm just like, I don't feel like it, right? But I'm like, someone else would also have that, right? So I had to. That's where I was like, okay, main DPS, like potential, no. She's like, if you were to rate it from like, you know, S to like D, she's around like a C, maybe a B, somebody might say. Like just not really super impactful, just kind of in the background, just sprinkling some snow on the enemies. That's about it. Now when it comes to debuffer, this is where it's a little better, right? Because she's just someone in the background, right? That like if the enemy ignores her, that's again where her damage kind of like, you know, sprinkles of snow in the back. She's lowering the attack speed of the enemies, lowering the evasion, decreasing the mana. Now possibly your warriors, your tanks can survive better because it's less damage happening to them. Maybe preventing that Jacqueline or that Lindsay from killing you, preventing maybe Miriam from clapping you, giving less attack speed to the enemy Flynn, because we know Flynn can pop off, but her attack speed is already slow, so now you're slowing it down even more, right? So that's where she, you know, kind of has some more usefulness, right? So that's kind of how I feel about her. So now let's look at when I think about her with other factions, right? So I looked at her with a human team, and I tried using like her with like Mephi, Jiho, like Lindsay, and she didn't really like have the greatest fit. Like she was kind of critting a little bit, but with the AoE, like humans don't really mix well with like debuffs as much. Like they don't really care about that. Like the human characters, so far from what I looked at, like just looking at their kits, they really care about crit. That's why Mephi is such a good pair, because Lindsay loves to crit, Dora loves to crit, Jade loves to crit. That's kind of why like Cherry is kind of like the odd one out. Like Cherry does better with undead teams because of her burn, right? She does kind of well with Jade because Jade enables her to have better probability on her burning with her passive that she has. But it's kind of why Cherry seems odd one out, because she has dots, and we already know that's where, you know, it belongs on undead. So she doesn't really fit in human teams, right? Honglan in a full beast team doesn't really fit. Why? Because beast teams are all about having some burst damage up close, up and personal for the most part, right? Flynn is the outlier, but Flynn also does big burst damage with stuns, right? Beasts are all about stuns, burst damage, healing over time with Sunny, Siha, Clara. So that's kind of what, to me, like Beast are, because like most of the Beast characters have a stun. Most of them do, right? Honglan included. So that's what they're really like. Huge CC, you know, Haru, single target, comes in like an assassin, blah, like takes out the enemy. Ira is darn near like a tank, the amount of healing she has. Mika is a nuke when she has Siha, right? Sunny, if she can get some decent heals, She's out here taunting and healing like crazy, right? If you have her promoted up in high levels. So that's what it is. But Honglan doesn't really fit there because again, she does debuffs, like the attack speed and all that stuff. Like they don't really care about that, like on the beast as much, right? Fairies are all about having buffs on the characters, having a bunch of mana gain, right? Short mana gain, like Renee wants speed buffs. Nicole wants buffs herself, extra energy to debuff with her feather brand. Miriam wants extra energy, that way she could do her skill more often. Like Talia gives the extra energy, right? Like Naya wants extra energy, that way she can pop off her stuff with her skills, right? With her sleep. Doesn't really help with Honglan. Now, what is a little interesting, what I've heard some people call out, they're like, well, Honglan and Vivian are decent together because you can speed up your team and slow down them, right? And then you're getting the extra energy gain from Talia, so you get all of that extra little snow on the enemies a lot more often, which I was like, okay, that makes sense, right? But if you're using Fairy and Beast, are you going to be ulting with Honglan or are you ulting with Naya? Naya, obviously, right? But with Honglan, she adds in a little sprinkle, so if Naya doesn't finish off the enemy, maybe Honglan with her dots could, right? That is possible. Definitely possible. But the best faction, and certainly not least, but I am saying it last and saving it for last, is Undead. Why? Well, I'll tell you. It's a dot character. Becca. It's obvious. Violet. Come on. You know? Honglan is able to apply an AoE dot. We already know that Violet needs characters to have dots. So Honglan pairs best with undead teams because now Violet can, whoever she hits, will pretty much have a freeze dot on them, right? Now you just add another character that has a dot, and that allows Violet to do more. And y'all know I love Violet. Of course, she's been replaced with Valana, but I love Violet still. And now it's allowing me to use her a lot easier because now I know that there's going to be a dot on the enemy, especially with me using Valana. Then I just pull in another DPS character with a dot. Now I can use Violet to just snap enemies away. You know what I'm saying? So she fits very well with the team. She also, like with her passive, lowering the attack speed and the accuracy, mainly lowering the attack speed and the mana, it allows Petra to survive a lot more. And we already know if you can let Petra survive more, that's even better, right? Valana, same thing. So that's where Honglan's strength is, though. Her strength is with adding that extra dot to the enemy team to allow Violet to kind of pop off, pass some dots. If you're using Valana, now you have the bleed on the whole team, you have the freeze on the whole team, and whoever else you're using the dot, you're really just adding those extra dots, that extra passive damage in with their, you know, still with their burst damage. So it helps out overall, right? We're just adding more and more dots to my team. Now, so that's kind of where she fits on teams, right? Her usefulness in stages, how much what I'd say she is with PvE and stages. For story stages, I can see, yes, because there's multiple enemies. I could see her usefulness there with debuffers, especially like I said, on the undead team. When it comes to single target with bosses, I'm gonna say no, because Nini can do a fire, like a burn and a freeze effect on her skill. So if there's a single target boss, Honglan isn't really gonna add anything, and Nini adds in extra magic resistance. So like, you know, Honglan isn't gonna really save anything, even with decreasing the mana. It's not that crazy. It's not that crazy with the decreasing mana, like 15-20% maybe. With using main skill and ult, it was the max I saw with using them back to back. So it's not super crazy. But on main story stages, like I could see that PvP, it's possible if you're using undead and you're lowering the amount of healing they have, because like a lot of people have heal stall and Honglan's dot, she's gonna get healed away. And since she doesn't have her ult, she can't do the stun. So it's just dot damage, you know, it's just there. It does decrease the mana, it kind of helps out, but you could just use a different character, honestly. So, but potentially, I do think that Honglan, if there comes a character that synergizes with freeze, kind of like how Vallana synergizes with bleed, then Honglan will definitely go up. Like, I feel like she's gonna enable another character in the future to do big time damage. That's what I think she'll be there for. Whenever we get somebody who really wants to pop up with freeze. Like I said, the only character who can kind of do anything with freeze is Violet, because she, when a enemy has dots, she gets extra damage. There's no other character that does anything with extra freeze, really. So I feel like that's what Honglan's waiting for. And I haven't seen or heard of anyone who does yet. So until then, I say Honglan is not a must-have. If you're looking for a character to help push you in any content, she's not a must-have. But if you're wanting a waifu, bro, go ahead and do it. But yeah, so guys, that pretty much concludes everything I have to say about Honglan. Like I said, I got her, like, you know, just nice to have, but not a must-have. So this pretty much concludes the video. And again, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you guys enjoy this content, please hit the like button. If you have anything to say about Honglan, maybe you don't agree with what I said, please let me know down in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel if you guys want to get more Eversoul content and other gacha content on YouTube. If you guys want to see me play any games, I do that on Twitch. I haven't done that lately. I'm still trying to get all the content and stuff together, but I will be bringing all that content to you guys. You know, just keep supporting your boy. I got a child to feed, a newborn. Y'all know I got a 3-year-old, so please help keep supporting everything you guys do. It helps out. That's why the likes, comments, subs, all that stuff help out, guys. You don't even have to pay for any of that. Keep it up, because it helps pay the bills. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You lucky gamers, have a good one.